Curse of the Dead Gods is pretty hard. In fact, it's one of the hardest games I've ever played, and I think everybody should play it.
But you haven't even beaten the game yet. How can you recommend a game that you haven't even finished?
Because that's how amazing it is. The Mesoamerican inspired theme and the art style of the game really give it a uniquely dark, hopeless atmosphere. It's also a masterclass in engaging, tough-as-nails action combat. Each weapon feels unique, the perks really change how you engage with different systems, the enemies are tough but never unfair, the gameplay is simple to understand yet hard to master. There's even a tutorial which seems awfully benevolent for a bunch of gods who have trapped you in a horrible, trap-filled temple and keep cursing you and bringing you back from the dead to kill you again. Thanks, gods. Maybe it's a satisfaction thing, and they're like,
We'll give you a tutorial so that when you fail, it will be because of your own incompetence instead of lack of knowledge. Yes, this pleases us.
well, okay. While this game is pretty short on the story elements, especially considering in the 40 hours that I have in this game, there's only been 2 cutscenes, both of which were only about 20 to 30 seconds long and had no dialogue. There's actually only one god that's actively against you, and that's, Xbeltz'aloc? You know what, we're just going to refer to him as Beltz. So Beltz is sort of making a mockery of the other 3 who are helping you, though each of them is only helping you in the sense that they expect you to worship them and only them if and when you overcome Beltz. Everything feels pretty futile, right? But much like our protagonist, the temple will keep drawing you in, death after death. Though I would hope that you're drawn in by the compelling gameplay rather than a life or death struggle against the god of death. Hey, wait, who the hell are you? This isn't a game. You have no idea what you're trifling with here. Before you're pulled into the depths of this hellish temple, you first have to choose your path through it. There are usually 3 different paths to choose from, although the later journeys will only have one path. These 3 paths reflect the gods who are helping you along your journey, and will affect what enemies and traps you encounter. Tiamat, the Jaguar God's trials, feature fire and spike traps, and will likely be your first introduction to your curse of undeath. Yachts, the Eagle Goddess's trials, are centered around lightning and air, pitting you against quick, agile enemies and lightning traps. Sich'al, the Serpent Goddess, has poison bubbling and fuming throughout her chambers, as well as dart traps and vengeful plants, and the denizens here are adaptable and equally caustic. As you delve into the temple, you'll find many tools to aid in your survival. The most obvious of these are your weapons. These come in all shapes and sizes, and are divided into 3 main categories: main hand, offhand, and two-handed. Each weapon type within each of these categories is also unique, and each individual weapon has a time and place where it is useful. Each weapon you find will likely have affixes attached to it, giving it random run-specific properties. Fancy weapons are fine and dandy, but they're no more useful than your bare hands if you don't know how to use them. Your main hand weapon and offhand weapon are wielded together, and this can be used to great advantage. Your main weapon has a 3 to 5 strike combo, with the final strike in the combo being a finisher, dealing extra damage. However, if you interrupt this combo by using your offhand weapon, you'll execute an offhand combo. Your two-handed weapon generally has a 3-strike combo similar to your main hand weapon. All 3 of your weapons have a charged attack as well, and usually helps you close the distance on your enemies. But be careful not to exert yourself too much, or you'll be vulnerable to attack due to lack of stamina. You have 5 stamina points, and you need to manage them well to succeed. Dodging, finishers, offhand combos, and your two-handed weapon attacks all take stamina. Your two-handed charged attack takes 2 points. If you run out, you may be left stranded, frantically trying to dodge an attack to no avail. But not all hope is lost, as you still have actions to take even with no stamina. Each attack in a combo with your main or offhand weapons that isn't the finisher doesn't require stamina to use. You can also parry an attack without stamina, and if done successfully, will restore a stamina. Killing a non-minion enemy and performing a perfect dodge are other ways to restore your stamina quickly, so skilled players can fight for longer. Your second tool against this curse is light itself. In a place where the sun never shines, and darkness is all this foul place has ever known, even a simple torch can turn the tide of battle. When you are standing in darkness, you take double damage, so make sure to alight those braziers, or better yet, your enemies. Yes, lighting your enemies on fire can prove doubly useful, dealing some damage to them while reducing the damage you take from them. As you burn and carve your way through those standing in your way, you will find many strange relics to aid you. These have a multitude of effects, and each may prove crucial in your journey. But you mustn't bog yourself down with trinkets, so you can only hold 6 at any given time. Those overseeing your trials still expect tribute for your help. After all, nothing is ever truly free, and nowhere is that more true than this temple. Shrines can provide relics, weapons, weapon upgrades, and stats. They will accept gold or blood, though the latter will further your corruption. The gods will also accept weapons and relics, but only if they have not been stained by your hands. In return for these items, you may receive gold, health, stats, or have some of your corruption purged. You will find these as you plunge through these darkest depths, but each room you pass through furthers your corruption, and may leave you afflicted with a curse. These curses are like Xbeltz'aloc's personal challenges, taking away something that you rely upon, but also rewarding you for engaging with that weakness. It's a maddening game of risk-taking with your life. Do you concede to the curse to retain the benefits, or do you reject this gift bestowed upon you? But to reject these curses, you must face the toughest opponents. At each major step in each of the paths, you must face a champion. There are 3 champions that represent each felled god, now a pawn for Xbeltz'aloc to place in your way. These battles will require quick reactions, deft movement, and proper utilization of everything at your disposal. These enemies are unyielding, rarely leaving room to breathe. Victory provides you with many gifts, such as weapons and relics, as well as crystal skulls and jade rings. But faltering for even a moment may lead you to a painful death, even if only for a brief, agonizing moment. Death, of course, is not a release, for you are cursed to traverse these halls until you succumb to the madness or prove yourself victorious. But in this brief moment of respite, you can spend some of the spoils of war to improve your odds of survival. Jade rings may be spent to access more weaponry, and crystal skulls are spent to unlock perks, provide better starting weapon choices, and grant you divine favor, which allows you to re-roll shrines. And, in the only moment of quiet you have, know that this will not be the last time you arrive here, and it will not be the last time you leave. You know, that's kind of rude.
What the
You can't just be walking into somebody's house and come in and stab them for no reason. Alright, well, I guess that guy did most of the video for me, so, thanks, weird stranger guy. But yeah, I really like Curse of the Dead Gods, and I think you should play it. You should also subscribe. Pretty please? I'll give you more content if you do.